That is so fetch.
Gretchen, stop trying to make fetch happen. It's not.
After 3 seasons, What If is finally over. In those 3 seasons, it failed to ask the question, what if we made a good show? Hey Internet, I'm Chris, and this is the place on the internet where I talk about comics, movies, games, and things I'm generally passionate about. So one of the more exciting things when Marvel sort of made their big expansion into Disney Plus series was the animated series What If, based on the comic book that explored the possibilities of variants. What if this happened or that happened? They created an animated show that would be centered in the MCU. What could go wrong? Apparently everything. Before we get into that, be sure to like, comment, subscribe. After 3 seasons, What If, or The Captain Carter Show, is finally over. It failed to really give us any interesting or intriguing scenarios outside of the first season, which had some somewhat cool things like evil Doctor Strange or Marvel Zombies, which is getting its own spin-off series, which it should have been in the beginning, but we're not going to go there. And I think the show suffered from what a lot of Marvel projects have suffered from since Endgame, where they lack any direction. They sort of move in this way where they're like, hey, because there's no Avengers movie or no Thanos to build towards, originally it was Kang, but we know where that went. And a lot of these shows and movies that have been set in the Marvel Cinematic Universe proper have failed to really excite people. There was a time after Endgame where all of these things were appointment viewing, including season 1 of What If. But it's gotten to the point where What If ended and I was like, wait, that was still going on? That's still a series? And you just see clips of the show and you're like, none of this seems really interesting. And why is Captain Carter still in this show? And I think again with Marvel, at least the movies, and this is something going on in the comics too, where they just don't know how to make things fun. There's all these like really great resources and they have all these opportunities to do things that are interesting, and they fall flat on their face almost every single time. Now, we had Deadpool and Wolverine this past summer, which made over $1 billion, which was a huge success. Everyone's saying that Marvel's back. They've had things like Loki, which did really good things in both season 1 and season 2 with the multiverse. But in a concept as big and as cool as a multiverse, it's crazy that they failed to capitalize on it on any meaningful way. And especially in a show like What If, where you're supposed to be asking about all these single possibilities, and they keep landing on like, hey, like what if Captain Carter was the savior of the multiverse? And now I like Haley Atwell as Peggy Carter, and it was cool to see her return as Captain Carter in that one episode in season 1 of What If. But it just seems like there's someone at Marvel, maybe Kevin Feige himself, that is convinced that Captain Carter is the greatest character ever conceived of, because she keeps coming back. And listen, Peggy Carter had a TV show, Agent Carter, which was received well critically, but only had 1 season. Nobody watched it. So I don't know why they think that people are that interested in seeing Peggy Carter be Captain America, even though she's from Britain. It's just a weird concept. It was cool once, and obviously she was in the Exiles and in the comics, and they sort of explored that in season 3. It's just weird. It's one of those things where you're like, hey, like you still have like this great stable of characters you haven't revealed in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and you keep going back to Captain Carter, and it's like, dude, like can we do something more fun? Can we bring back Danny Rand, or any number of things? Hey, like Shang-Chi appeared in season 3 of What If, which is cool, but he's only appeared once since his movie, which was one of the bright spots of this mess of the multiverse. And then you also have Maria Rambeau, who always appears in the... I mean, I'm going on a tangent outside of What If now, but it's another character where you're like, dude, who is telling you that the character is popular or people are excited? Like, hey, like, Monica dealt with that loss with Maria. Let it go. Same thing with Peggy. Hey, she died. We got to see Steve go back in time. It was a fantastic moment. Why do you keep going back to these characters? And, there's so many other characters that you have yet to build up in this universe, whether it be America Chavez, Echo, all these characters that have had their moments, but it's like, hey, like, why do you keep going back to the well of things that have not been particularly successful? Like, What If is ending after 3 seasons. A show about the endless possibilities of the multiverse only had 3 seasons, and no one since season 1 has had. I don't even remember what was in season 2. Season 3, I watched some clips and I was like, you know what, I'm good. I saw the Howard the Duck thing and I was like, you know what, okay, I'm fine. I'm fine. And it's just weird that, again, Marvel, and they do this with the comics too now, where they fail to sort of, because of what the Marvel Cinematic Universe became, which was like this endless, well-oiled hit machine. It became incredibly safe and made these weird decisions and attached itself to storylines that just frankly don't work. And not to say that they should always kneel at like what the fans want. That's how you get Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom. That's how you get Steve Rogers coming back. So they didn't even get to build their Young Avengers fully before they went back to that well. And also, we wouldn't have gotten like an Ant-Man movie, a Guardians of the Galaxy, and even the first Captain Marvel. And I know people sort of like, I don't even like that Captain Marvel movie, but it made $1 billion. They were able to really produce, like, set that up for success. And it is weird that where every project used to be an event, now it's not. Same thing in the comics. Marvel comic events used to be really exciting, whether it be Civil War. The last one I can remember that was really exciting was The King in Black, and since then they've all been duds. And it's weird where it seemed like they had a culture of success and quality. Now it's like, why? And I think What If is a particular great example of why they have failed in this. Even though it's phase 5 we're in, like phase 2 of what this Marvel Cinematic Universe is, like post Endgame, they have failed to have a singular vision. They have invested in characters that don't seem to work on an individual level. And not to say that you can't make a great Captain Carter or great Peggy Carter or even a Maria Rambeau series or anything like that, but the story has to be there first. Like, you can't make bad versions of these characters and then continue to showcase them in a bad light, because that's when it's very easy for people to pounce on it, and that's how you create this economy of grifters that constantly attack these characters just because they're women or they're people of color. Like, all those things, you open the doors for that when you create these really half-baked ideas with no story behind it. And it's just upsetting because you're like, wait, like Captain Carter has probably had more appearances in the Marvel Cinematic Universe than some other characters that are like, hey, like, it would be really cool to see Justin Hammer again. That was a really funny, like, what if Justin Hammer was Iron Man? That's a cool idea. Another one, what they probably want to do, what if Shang-Chi got the Iron Fist? Things like that. Those are cool ideas. That I would actually get excited to see. Instead of, hey, do you guys want to see Captain Carter again? Like, what if, as a comic book, is not like about one singular character, and then also you waste an opportunity of getting someone like Jeffrey Wright to voice the Watcher, which is an insane pull for an animated character. Obviously, they probably promised him that he'll play the character in live action in some way, but that's Commissioner Gordon playing the Watcher on a terrible What If series. Yeah, and it's just one of those things. Like, stop trying to make it happen. It's not gonna happen. Like, just move on. And also, again, to tie it to the larger Marvel Cinematic Universe, make better stories. Like, just focus on these things. Obviously, since a lot of the big failures, they've said they're kind of cutting back, but the reality is they can't really do that when they're really drivers of the box office for Disney. We'll still be in a place where you're probably not, like, What If just ended. Next month we're getting Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, which doesn't look great, but I'm holding out judgment because Coleman Domingo as Norman Osborn, that's awesome. Also, I was judgy of the X-Men 97 trailer, and that turned out fantastic, so let's see. But X-Men 97 Season 2 is going to be run by the same guy who made What If, so hey, that's not going to be great. But yeah, what do you guys think? Again, I like Peggy Carter, but it just seems like they've overdone it with Captain Carter, and they just dropped the ball when it comes to the concept of What If. And it seems the multiverse, which was an exciting possibility, and you know, a lot of people place the blame on Jonathan Majors and what he did, but the reality is the story wasn't there, which is crazy because in the multiverse, there's endless stories, but not for Marvel. You guys think? Did you like What If? Are you big fans of Captain Carter? Am I an idiot? Let me know. Like, comment, subscribe, and peace.